So here we are in the city of Miami. We're on board the ship. And it's a big ship. And everyone is starting to board, but we're in our room already. This is a beautiful day in Miami. And here we are in our stateroom. Someone's playing cards in our room. Very nice. Okay, so here we are in the Dominican Republic. And as you can see, this is the first place where the ship landed. See the ship way out there in the distance. And this is also one of the first places that Christopher Columbus supposedly came to, and he discovered this part of the world. You can see it's kind of beautiful. And there's Janet and the boys over there. And there, this area is one of the remnants of Atlantis. So we're looking at the top of what's left of Atlantis, and maybe part of what's going to come up. So here we are in the British Virgin Islands, the island of Tortola. The lens keeps getting fogged up because of the humidity. And here's beautiful Janet. And as you can see, we're in the harbor of Tortola, and a lot of ships here, and we're going to go with the dolphins today, but we may not be able to film depending on the rules and regulations. Well, we are here in what is left of Atlantis. The energy here in the British Virgin Islands is a lot better than it was in the Dominican Republic. We passed St. Thomas and St. John, which are also very beautiful, and the image that I got was that they were at one time the very top peaks of Atlantis, and I could actually see them snow-covered and windswept. And of course now they're just a bit above the water, although they are mountainous, and you can see how hilly and deep they were at one time. The energy, as I mentioned, is much lighter. This must have been a more pleasant area of Atlantis, but now, of course, it's been covered up with a lot of tourism. There's even drug smugglers in the area. There's a lot of things going on here. The U.S. Navy does training in the area, not far away in Puerto Rico and Vieques Island, where they actually have bombing raids and they practice bombing places on the islands nearby. So there's that energy also mixed in with the pleasant energy. As I mentioned earlier, we are going to have a dolphin encounter today, but according to some of the information, we may not be able to film on our own. It might be only that the official curators of that dolphin area are able to take pictures. So I'm not sure if we'll be able to film any of it, but certainly one way or the other we'll get some information, and we'll try to communicate with the dolphins through the dolphin frequency. And if I cannot take video, I'll try to take still pictures, and if not that, we'll just have to wing it and see what happens. So here we are again in Tortola, British Virgin Islands. This is the largest of the Virgin Islands. Let's see what happens today. It should be a very nice experience. It's a beautiful day. The sea is calm. The weather is clear. It's warm and very humid outside. In fact, so humid that when I try to film out there, the lens fogs over. And so that's a bit of a difficulty. I'm not sure what the humidity is even doing to the camera equipment. So let's see what happens, and I'll report back to you in a little bit. So we're here at the dolphin area, and we're watching them do tricks, and we did a lot of dances with them and touch them, and we kiss them, and of course we couldn't have our cameras taking the pictures at that moment, but so we can get a good, so I have to take these pictures afterwards.
Tisa. Tisa. Tisa.
Very good. Okay, thank you guys. Very good. Okay. So everybody had a kiss with the dolphins? Everybody did a dance with the dolphins? So beautiful. Remember, always in your back.
Pelicans are trying to eat the food from the dolphins. The attack of the pterodactyls. Dolphins are on break right now. So here we are in St. Martin, which is an island split between the French and the Dutch side. And behind me you can see the French fort. We're in the French side at the moment. The ship docked at the Dutch side. And interesting that the island has a lot of EU accoutrements. The license plates are all French EU. The Dutch side seems to be more independent. But Queen Beatrix, I believe he said, was here on the island at the moment, and so things are probably under strict control while the royalty is here. Apparently there's a lot of famous people who have homes here, like Harry Belafonte, Diana Ross, and a few other people in Hollywood. Personally, I feel the energy here is kind of dull and neutral. I don't feel anything exciting one way or the other. There's no negativity, there's no positivity, it's just a very dull, neutral location. We're also very close, and you can see it off in the distance, the British island of Anguilla, and also the island of Saba, where they filmed King Kong, and a couple of other films, apparently. So it's a very interesting place, but a bit boring, unfortunately. And we're here, of course, on a Sunday, so a lot of things are closed, especially on the French side. The Dutch side remains open. I guess Catholic side is more strict with religion, whereas the Dutch side is more open and maybe willing to bend the rules. The energy of Atlantis here seems to be very low. I'm not feeling anything here. It could very well be that this was thrust up after Atlantis sank, so maybe this was not even part of the main island continent at the time. We'll have to look into that a little bit more. We're still doing our work, still trying to figure out what's going on in the Caribbean. I do sense a lot of magma flow underneath the area as the Caribbean tectonic plate rises up. And if you look out over the water here, and you can slowly turn the camera there, you can see ships in the water. This is not a good vantage point to see certain of the other islands in the area, but certainly it's a lot of countries all at one place. We have Dutch, Spanish, English, French, all located very close by. So I guess not much more to say about St. Martin. They call it the friendly island, and it is very friendly. But no energy. There's just no energy here at all. It's completely neutral, stagnant, as far as I'm concerned. So that's all I have to report from St. Martin right now. So here we are in Antigua on the boat, going with the stingrays, and I don't know if you can see the stingrays out there in the water swimming. Very, very interesting. They do have stingers. I think they scared off most of the stingrays. You see any stingrays out there? What? Oh, here's one. Some of them are white. So that one's upside down. There's a whole group of them over there. Hi. The energy here in Antigua is really very interesting. It's a lot more calm, peaceful than in the other islands that we've been to so far. I would say the Dominican Republic was the worst one, and Tortola was kind of in between, and St. Martin was very, very neutral, kind of almost a dead energy. But here in Antigua, it's really fascinating energy, and it's kind of enlivening, and it feels interesting, even though it's stingray territory. We're not here with the dolphins now, we're with the stingrays, the opposite. So it's kind of a very fascinating, upbeat kind of energy. I would say this must be how Atlantis felt when it was in its prime of a civilization. Calm, peaceful, beautiful, serene, no problems. Well, of course there were problems, but they were surmountable. And I think that there's a lot of good energy here to be learned in Antigua, and we're going to do some scanning, I think, a little bit later on. The water's very shallow here, a lot of sand bottoms, some coral. You still have to be careful. The other day, one of the crew told me she saw a shark swimming right next to the ship. So the water looks peaceful and calm, but underneath it really isn't. There's a lot going on underneath the sea, and I can feel Atlantis real close by here. So I'll see you again a little bit later on. So this is Dominica, or yeah, Dominica. Hi, here we are in Barbados. And behind me you can see part of the Caribbean Sea. We're up on the highest point in Barbados, which is not too high. Barbados is pretty flat. In fact, this island was thrust up from the ocean after Atlantis sank, so it was never really part of the original continent. So the energy here is very different than it is in other islands. Quite honestly, all of the Caribbean has this terrible death-like energy still imprinted from the destruction of Atlantis and from all the centuries of its terrible technological and biological experimentations. So Barbados is perhaps the nicest of the islands as far as more people, more conveniences, but still there is very heavy energy that is left over from the Atlantean time period. That's all for this particular section, and we'll speak to you a little bit later.
Well, it's very interesting what we're finding here throughout the Caribbean. As Stewart mentioned, that there is a lot of heavy energy and a lot of imprinting here. However, you want to make certain that you realize that left it open for those people, the global handlers, to come in and take over the people that are actually left on the island. A lot of emotions here, and for me it makes me feel like I want to cry. And I can't exactly explain why, but there is such sadness that we have to work through, which it represents the sadness within each one of us. So as we're standing here talking to you, I want you to be able to connect to this Atlantean energy which is inside of yourself, because this is part of the energy that holds us into victim mentality, that it's really important that each one of us release. One of our party mentioned that he could see huge waves wiping out crystalline cities. So go with that and see what your part is, because this is important to all of us for healing not only ourselves but the global situation as well. So thank you for joining us, and we will be making another report here soon for you.
This is beautiful Barbados. And this is the east side of the island where you're not allowed to swim because the waves are so rough. There are surfers out there, but they're not supposed to be out there. It's a red flag day. And the entire eastern side of Barbados, you are prohibited from swimming because it's always like this. Off there in the distance, so it's very hard to see in those clouds, is the Montserrat volcano. And that exploded a few years ago and killed a lot of people. But there it is out there in the ocean. Just beyond that, you could just barely make it out in the hazy clouds. But there it is, the Montserrat volcano, as we are on our way to St. Kitts after leaving Barbados. Very close to St. Lucia as well. And that's the island of Nevis over there. Nevis, very popular for the local people. See? And there is St. Kitts over there. in St. Kitts, Virgin Islands, or I don't think it's the Virgin Islands, just the West Indies. So we're in St. Kitts, and it's actually, believe it or not, the best place we've been to on the whole trip. The energy is just spectacular. It's lighthearted, it's fun, it's colorful, it's easy. There's our ship, and I can't see too close, but the other side of it is a British ship. And we think that the energy here was probably the most peaceful part of Atlantis. But we also think that it's a little hectic at times. You can see Rastafarians over
Daddy,
there.
make sure you get the sinking sky, Daddy.
Okay.
Make sure you get the sinking sky, Daddy. Yeah. St. Kitts, this is the national flag, St. Kitts. Aye.
That's a flag of St. Kitts. Yeah.
What are you supposed to be about?
And you can see there's green monkeys there on the floor. See the green monkeys playing around there on the floor, and they're very mischievous monkeys. You boys want to say anything about St. Kitts? Want to say anything about St. Kitts? And that's St. Kitts.